this Wednesday, November 16th, 2016. This is Straight Shooting Sports Talk, and I am your host, as always, Dujane Bland. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Washington Redskins and quarterback Kirk Cousins, and we're going to take a look at the Thursday night matchup, New Orleans Saints, the Carolina Panthers, NFC South matchup. Well, Washington is hanging quite tough in this division. We know the history of the Washington Redskins and their quarterback woes. Didn't work out with Robert Griffin III, among other quarterbacks who fall in that list. And they didn't give Kirk the big payday last year. At the end of last year, they decided to give him the franchise tag and basically a wait and see. And Kirk was willing to bet on himself. And I think those days are over, ladies and gentlemen. I think if you're a Redskins fan, you have to be comfortable with what quarterback Kirk Cousins is doing. And I know everybody is not for Kirk Cousins for various reasons. But I wrote an interesting article on this, and it's can be found where you can find all of my work at sportsjourney.com. And Kirk has done a phenomenal job of not just managing the offense in a great way, but he's also been the consummate teammate. Everybody is rallied around this guy, and I know early in the season there was some frustrations between Deshaun Jackson and Kirk Cousins. He missed him on several occasions earlier in the season, and it really just appeared that Kirk was playing very uptight. Seemed like there was a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and he had put a lot of pressure on himself. And he just didn't seem natural like he did after that Tampa Bay Buccaneers game in 2015, where they come back, have a phenomenal comeback win, and then he's just lights out for the rest of the year. And if you're looking at this football team right now, it definitely appears that Kirk is getting back on that roll again. He's in a rhythm, so to speak, and this offense is chugging along. Now, granted, I felt against the Minnesota Vikings that they left some points on the football field, and this game was a lot closer than it really needed to be. But Kirk was 22 of 33 for 262 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and again led his team without Pro Bowl left tackle Trent Williams. And not only did they not have Trent Williams, they did not have their lethal weapon, one of many, in Deshaun Jackson. And yet he's able to lead his team down for another fourth quarter drive, which is the third straight game that he was able to do that. And he's done it 6 times this year. Now, if you go back and date all the way back to 2015, that Tampa Bay Buccaneers game in October against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Kirk is 487 completions out of 702 attempts. That's a respectable 69%. He's got 39 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, quarterback rating of 106.4. And since that time, he has posted a 12-6-1 record. Very respectable. Very respectable. Now, many of you are going to focus on the fact that, those kind of uh-oh moments that he has where he makes throws that are head scratchers. But what I like about his attitude now is he's able to bounce back from those. Interception does not cause Kirk to become gun shy. If anything, he gets after it even more. And they've asked him to pass a lot more this season than he's done his whole entire career. Um, as we know, last week running game was very well with Robert Kelly, but there have been some weeks where um, they haven't had much of a running game, and it's been on the back of Kirk Cousins, and he's done a pretty solid job of handling that pressure. Look, he's not may not be the Tom Brady or the Philip Rivers or the Ben Roethlisberger that everybody is always in search of, but this guy gets the job done. The tape doesn't lie, ladies and gentlemen. The tape does not lie when it comes to Kirk Cousins. He does a lot of things well. Showed up big time in the Minnesota Vikings game, and it's definitely showing that he's starting to get on a roll. And he said something that stood out to me in his interview, his post game interview with Hall of Fame DB uh, Deion Sanders of the NFL Network. He said he had high expectations of himself, and sometimes they were a bit unrealistic. And he said you can be a perfectionist, but the game is imperfect, and you're not going to play perfect. So he had to give himself some grace and allow myself to make mistakes. I think that has helped. And it sure looks like it has. I mean, we all know that at the quarterback position, you cannot play the quarterback position scared to make mistakes, because the mistakes are going to happen. Whether it's a tip ball, whether it's a ball that comes off your wide receiver, goes up in the air, or whether you make an errant throw, it's going to happen. But you cannot be gun shy. You have to be a fearless leader and attack the opposing team's defense. That's going to put pressure on them, and that's how you get the ball moving, and that's how you get trust. Get trust in your wide receivers that you can get them the ball. And I think the quarterback woes are over in Washington. I think they should give him his contract. Pay the man. Please pay the man. Because, I mean, really, outside of him, when you look around the league, whether you're talking trades, who you're going to get that's more solid, that understands this offense, and can really do a fluent job of orchestrating the offense. So, again, with the running game, what more can you ask for out of Kirk Cousins? But it's going to be very interesting to see how he improves going into these next few games. I believe it's going to be they got the Packers on Sunday night, and then they're going to they're going to play their rivals, the Dallas Cowboys, 8-1 Cowboys. It's going to be awesome. 2 weeks of football. Thanksgiving Day is going to be great when it comes to football games. And we'll be talking about that here on Straight Shooting Sports Talk. Well, let's get into our Thursday nighter. And out of all the Thursday nighters, this one is quite the head turner. You say, why? Why should we be interested in this Thursday night game? And I know Thursday nights have not been favorable, but this is a division matchup. And the Saints are 4-5. The Panthers are 3-6. But they do have a opportunity and a shot to start to move up that ladder. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think that either of these teams have a real shot at the playoffs. I think, if anything, you're going to have two teams out of the NFC East that make the playoffs. If there's going to be a division that has two teams come out of the division, you're going to have to win the division here in the NFC South, but at least it keeps them alive and keeps them in the running to be able to have a shot to win the division for both of these teams. So it's going to be a game where it's not just a rival game, but it also has playoff implications, so to speak, because you win, your chances of having an opportunity to win this division increases. If you lose, you get behind the eight ball, and those chances may go right out of the window. Now, with these two teams, they are not very good defensively. You have the New Orleans Saints allowing 400 yards per game. Carolina's right close with the 351 total yards allowed per game. And both teams are right in the 25 to 29 point range as far as scoring is concerned. So this could very well be absolute gunslinger, a shootout. The first one to 35 wins, or whoever has the ball last wins. Because they're allowing about the amount of points that they're scoring per game. So it's going to be interesting game to watch. Now, the good part is for the Carolina Panthers, they're going to be at home. They're going to be at home in front of their home stadium, in front of their home crowd at their home stadium. So it's going to be comfortable. So the question is how consistent Cam Newton can be and who's going to turn the ball over more. And I think that's going to play a huge factor in this game. Turnovers will decide this game. And I know it sounds cliche. Turnovers decide a lot of games. But with these defenses giving up as many points and as many yards as they have been, turnovers will be crucial in this game. Because, hey, the more possessions I can have on offense, the more opportunities I have on offense to score, I have more of a chance to beat you because, hey, maybe I can get up by 2 scores. And did it be just enough to be able to win the ball game coming down the stretch just because I've had more possessions than the opposing offense. Now, who am I going to pick in this game? Well, it's a toss-up. Don't get me wrong. I like the New Orleans Saints and what they do. They have a plethora of weapons from Thomas to Snead. You have Hightower, Ingram in the backfield. They're getting Fleener, Kobe Fleener involved in the offense. So they have a plethora of weapons all the way across the board here. And we know with Drew Brees, he gets them to everyone. And they can, even with Cooks, they can blow it open at any time. But I also like Cam Newton and that team wearing them down by his ability to run. You see Funchess getting involved. You have to worry about Calvin Benjamin. But I say that the Saints edge it out here. It's a tough call. Don't get me wrong. It's tough. But I'm gonna take the New Orleans Saints to win because they just have more consistency. They have more weapons on that side of the ball than the Carolina Panthers. But this thing can go either way. If Carolina's defense shows up, we could be talking about a Carolina win. So it's 50-50. But I'm going to take the Saints over the Carolina Panthers on Thursday night. Well, as always, thank you so much for listening to the show. We appreciate it. At any time, you can listen to this show via iTunes. Go to the iTunes store, search, type in Straight Shooting Sports Talk, and subscribe, and you can take this show anywhere, listen to it anytime you want to, and you can re-listen to it. And we will appreciate that. Also, if you want to get at us, you want to submit a question, you want to submit a topic, you just want to talk shop, you can holler at me on Twitter at NotBland21. I'll be glad to get back with you and talk shop with you. Love talking football, love talking sports. It's a bright spot in everyone's life. It takes them away from some of the tough things that we have to deal with in the world today. If you don't do Twitter, you can hit us up at our email address, straightshootingst@gmail.com. We'll be happy to get back to you, and we'll be happy to discuss anything you want to talk about right here on this show. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we may not be able to get at you tomorrow, but we will get back at you on Friday. In the meantime, enjoy Thursday night football, and we'll talk to you then.
Yeah! Crab cake and football! That's what Maryland does!